Good morning and welcome in, everyone. Before we get into this morning's update, I want to go over a quick overview of what is transpiring so far in this early morning. It's not just crypto, but every single thing is starting to reverse here. It's almost as if on Fridays, this collective effort to swing the market back down, liquidate most holdings, and just absolutely bend over and humiliate retail seemingly is starting to happen every single week by the time we get to Friday. We know for XRP we have an escrow dump on the 1st, which, let's see, the 1st would be on Tuesday. We've also got this thinly traded weekend that'll be starting tonight. And as we can see, we're already reversed very hard. And it's not just crypto, but you've got commodities here. Even though gold's up about 0.5%, 15 bucks to 3,070. You got Barrett Gold down about 1/4%. Then you had B2 Gold just dump out. B2 Gold's down almost 9%. Couple commodities down a few percent or 0.75%. Nothing insane. Silver reversed back down. But better yet, forget commodities and mining stocks. But look at crypto. You got Bitcoin's down 3.37% on the day, or $3,000 almost, $2,942 on the day to 84,277. And Bitcoin we were watching, and it fell back through that very key 86,329 level. We've talked about if it's taking the stairs down, what would have to happen on this next push. And taking the stairs down, we would have got a rejection here, and then we'd start coming back down. I mean, we can talk about the inner levels of support, but if it breaks this, and it looks like it is right now, that could bring us all the way back down to 77, 74, which was an initial target back before, and then down even farther. Like, this is not a good, you don't want this to rotate down like this, because this would signify more, you know, of taking the steps down. And even though we're trying to be positive, even though we try to show, you know, the ebb and flows here, there's still the omniance here that we look like we're taking the steps down. And until we can invalidate that, next step, if this is for real, would be 77, 74,000. It's like 76,000. I like that 77K, but it is a little bit lower. I'll just put this right on here because I do like that. So 76,595. 74,142 if this keeps rotating back down. And if that's lost, you're talking about that 63K area. And like, that is not out of the realm here. That would be a back test of the breakout of this cup and handle. We've never actually back tested it the way I would like. We did a short-term back test, but nothing incredibly big. So if it does need to rotate back down, all these areas are in play. And the way that it rotated right now, leading into a thinly traded weekend, this certainly leaves cause for concern. XRP's down 6% on the day to $2.19.7. We need to get this bounce. We talked yesterday how the support was 222, but today it would be at 218. If you were in the live yesterday, you're ahead of this. But now we need this to hold. Like, it's one thing for it to come into this area. It's another thing for it to hold this area. Like, we've speculated that it could be like this for a long time just because the resistance coming through resistance. So I don't have a problem doing that. But, you know, if it doesn't hold this area right here, that's basically your last hope. That's your last hope that 215 maybe. I said 218 yesterday, but it's actually 216. But close enough. I mean, we've bounced down, and now we're going to need to hold this. This is what we identified yesterday as a pull down. And then if it holds, we'll get that very volatile swing up. But this is the back test now of this falling channel breakout. And it's going to have to make a decisive move here to the upside. Because if it loses, let's say 216, 215, we are in a world of trouble here. Because then it's going to open up the door to a much bigger drop down. And I don't want to speculate on where that would be, but we have no choice. But with that being said, good morning. 10:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, March 28th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So this was what we theorized yesterday, that if it did break down from here, and now if you go into recent time, that's like $1.96 on the dump down. So, and I drew it out yesterday as if this was like one big left shoulder, how it was in that kind of a formation, and how it could bring us all the way down in time to that $1.50 level area where that FVG is that I've talked about since December. And that's very much in play now. We did not hold the initial zone. Now we have to see if we hold like that $1.96, if we did dump down past the 216. So basically for me, it's like that 215, 216 area. If that's lost, this is already telling us we're going to $1.96 roughly. And then if that's lost, we could swing back down all the way to $1.50. But this pattern is set up to where it could technically play out until, let's just say, the apex here. Let's say we get to the apex moment, and that could technically play out all the way until December of this year. So this consolidation could be long-standing. I don't expect it to last that long, but if you look at it, this could very well get us into this $1.50 area very easily. So a lot of stuff to happen in between there. I'm not saying that's going to happen overnight, but what I am saying is this market continuously gets beaten down. The daily time frame, we could not correct ourselves. We fell back through in the smaller time frames, and we're about to invalidate the 2-hour time frame because that golden cross has now been pulled back to a death cross, and it is falling hard. The first target here, let's just say this played true and this broke down, would be $1.96. I know we've got the inner levels at 216, which is technically a first target as it continues to slide down a little bit. But if it breaks down, that's what you could be looking at. And this is not just condensed into crypto. This is all markets. It's looking brutal. The fact that gold did what it did overnight and this morning and the commodity mining stocks are dumping, something big is in the works. Unless this is a dump down before the weekend, this is more than just risk assets. This is sound assets. This is more sound money, safer assets, at least as some would look at. So this is a very big tug down here before the weekend. So the bottom line is we are getting this very porous push down here as we get closer to the end of this weekly candle. If we look at the XRP weekly candle as a whole right now, it's a nightmare. Now, it's got 3 days to pull back up, but this completely reversed our fortunes. And it's like what I said with the candle before. It's not technically a bearish doji, but to me, that's a gravestone. And I called it a bearish doji last week. And I simply said, are we going to be able to bounce back over and invalidate that structure? And the truth, absolutely not. We haven't. And I honestly thought that was a bearish setup last Wednesday, or the last weekly. And it was in disguise, and it built this uptrend. And the moment it broke, we knew we had a target down to $1.96, and that's unfortunate. So that's what's happening. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to finesse it. I'm going to tell you the truth. Love me or hate me. At least you're going to know from a bullish or bearish standpoint the truth, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So with that being said, the last thing we need to look at is the XRP market cap this morning. I'll do a short while my son is at his therapy at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will do the live likely around 6 p.m. I have to go to my dad's house tonight for the Michigan game. So it'll be around 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no longer. But if you're interested in seeing this market from a more defined structure, make sure you watch the live, and we'll talk about this very deeply. XRP was on the outside of this, but broke back in. And now with it breaking back in and coming below that pivot point at 129.29 billion, yes, that's an opportunity going up. But now we've fallen back within, so now we delete that for now. And now if we don't maintain this, we could come all the way back down to 100 billion. That's the bottom line here. If we don't break out, for every non-action, we have an opposite reaction. So that's 98.4 billion if this continues to fall. Now, we could end up pulling back up here, and this could just be a fake out. But going into the weekend, it does give me a little bit of cause for concern, obviously. And we just fell through such support levels so quickly. And now we're on the main support structure. We can't lose 215 or 16. Otherwise, I'm sorry, but we're going to come down below $2 again. And I don't want to say that, but that's the way it's setting up right now. The XRP Bitcoin pairing down 2.68% on the day. Falls below a critical pivot point at the 2674 sat level. Hasn't invalidated anything. But with that coming down, that could open the door back up to a 2351 hit and still not invalidate the structure. But we really, really, really need to start pushing out of here. Otherwise, this starts creating its own consolidation. And now that it's starting to break down, we could find ourselves in a world of hurt. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so very much for the support. Make sure to hit that like button and share this on social media. If you're looking to trade XRP and trying to get it set up during the high times of volatility, look in the video description below and or pinned comments of this very video. Go to my homepage on YouTube and look at the links I provide. There's BITUNIX. It's the lowest spot and leverage trading fee, lowest maker-taker fee. So when you're trading leverage, it's dirt cheap. And they have no KYC or VPN worldwide. In the USA as well, you can buy XRP and so many others. And a sticking point is they never got rid of XRP during the time of the lawsuit, even back in 2020. So I put my trust there. If you want to send a donation, you can send it via YouTube, PayPal, or Venmo, or just send a YouTube super chat or join Tom's Army if you're looking to pay it forward. But today you should keep your money in your pocket. You should be looking at ways to advance your portfolio if we do have bigger drops and find the ways that are the cheapest. Have a blessed day, everybody. Very busy day here. I'm glad we were able to put this update out.